So now let's start with the painting. Let's go with, well, rotten flesh. Let's go classic Halloween zombie. Let's paint it green. Okay, so let's start with a color green. If you're using software, by the way, try to use this on a different layer than the line work. It's gonna be easier for you further along the way. Like if you make a mistake, you don't interfere with the drawing. If you're just drawing on pen paper, that's all the same. Okay, now let's do the gums and the inside of the mouth, the hanging tongue. Okay, keep working on these basic colors. Now the bones, the eyes. Okay, yellow. Yellow eyes gives him a sick look, which is pretty cool. You know, again, he's not alive. That influences not just the design, but also the color scheme. And now for the pants and the shirt, let's give him something that is not saturated, you know, something along the grays. Because the grays, like, you will know that he's not fully alive because of the colors used in the clothing and on the skin and all of that. Everything reinforces the fact that he's dead. Okay, everything works for that purpose. That you reduce the contrast on the color scheme to make him less lively. Okay, so it's all zombie. Even the colors are zombie. Okay, so moving on, let's further some details that I missed here on the feet, the bone. Yeah, let's add a little bit of the the foot coming out. Okay, yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so now let's start a whole process of shading. Okay, how will we shade this? Okay, usually people think automatically like I'm going to shade a character. I have basic colors. What I'm going to use is just white for the highlights and use black for the shadows. Okay, don't do this. Okay, this is really boring, first of all, and then the result that it gives is not exactly what you would want. Okay, if you do white light, straight up white light on something like this, it's going to look very clinical, like he's under some hospital lights. Well, if that's the mood you're going for, then use that. Use white light for that. But other than that kind of situation where he's in an hospital or laboratory or something like that, something very clean, very neat, very cold, don't use the white light. Okay, use some sort of color that gives it a bit of a warmth. Okay, even though he's a zombie and we are toning everything down to make him look dead, we want him to look cute because he's a cartoon and he's kind of funny looking. So we don't want the coldness. Okay, so let's see. First, we'll draw some bubbles with the main colors. Okay, that we're using. The colors for the skin, the shirt, the pants, and the eyes. Eyes and bones. So I'm using yellow for both because bones and white again it looks kind of too pale, too cold. So let's start shading and then we're going to highlights. Okay, so shading all of these, do not use black. Again, like don't use white because everything looks like too hospital like, too cold. Don't use black because everything looks how should I say this? Like muddy. Okay. It doesn't everything around us bounces light to everything else around us. So nothing is black unless everything else around it is black. Every black that you see around you has a reflection or a hint of a color that's next to it. Either something that is glowing, something that is reflecting. So black, full on black, just use that for like a shadow character or a silhouette or something that you want to be mysterious and involved in some kind of mysterious aura kept in the shadows to reveal later mystery and all that. If it's not that the case and it's not here, just use other colors. slightly off the hue. Like for instance, let's start with the yellow one. With the yellow one, to shade the yellow, let's use orange. Okay, orange is pleasant. It's a wee bit darker, and it's going to be warmer than if we used black. Like in extremes, we can use black, but not off the bat. Okay, so let's start shading with orange. Okay, here we go. That looks nice. Already has a little volume. The smudge of yellow now looks like a ball, which is good. Now let's go for the skin tone and add a slightly bluish green. Again, you take the base color and you go off the hue. In this case, we go a little to the blues. In the case of the yellow, we went a little to the reds to get that orange. Now we go from green a little to the blues and we get the cyan. And again, it looks good. Now a little more bluish even, and look at that. Now it has volume. That's good. Awesome. Okay, now let's go with this maroon. Let's darker it a bit further. Again, not go for black. Just go with something reddish, something brownish. And it works. Again, volume. There you go. And now let's go for the pants and do exactly the same thing. Again, this kind of look bluish. This gray, it's blue gray. So let's again go into the blues, a little darker blues this time. And there you go, volume. Okay, so now to go for the highlights. The highlights on these, again, do not do the white thing because that will take away all the life. We are going to need a little bit of contrast here to get some life into the character. Again, he's dead, the color scheme is all muted, but we do need to have something in him that brings him to life and makes him a joy to look at. And a funny character, comedic character, because he's all comedic. And so, let's go again. For the pants, we did the blues for the shadows. So now we're going for greens in the highlights, which works in two ways. It works in making the pants more lively and fakes bouncing light. Okay, so if the character was a real thing in the real world, light would illuminate his skin and would bounce off the skin to everything around him, including his clothes. So if the light hits his hand, for instance, that would bounce some green off the hand into the pants. Okay, so if we test that out, and yeah, so there you go. See how that looks? Looks pretty cool. Now you have a full volume sphere from that spot in the that was the pants reference. Now let's do the same for the shirt. As you can see, the shirt is this maroonish. So instead of the reddish brownish that we did for shades, let's go with pink for the highlights, which relates to the gum color, and you'll make the shirt pop out. Let's see how that works. Oh, there you go. See? Nice, works nicely. Now let's go for his skin, and for the yellows, let's do his skin with a yellow tint for highlights, and the yellows of the eyes, that let's not go full white because again, white brings in the coldness, but let's go almost there. Let's use like a really light yellow tone because that will give it a subtle warmth, like the middle, like the core of a candle fire, like the candle flame right in the middle. It's not absolute white, but it's this really bright yellow. And yeah, let's do that. Okay, it works. So now we'll pick colors from the scheme and we'll start applying to the whole character. Okay, so let's start with the yellows, giving some volume to the eyes. Okay, let's shade them. Now let's go with the areas around the eyes. Let's go with the eyelids, the bottom ones. Now let's do the cavity in the skull. Oh, and feel free to pause the video if you need some more time to do this on your side, because it's not in a hurry, okay? Just do things the way you feel right. Okay, so if the light, remember, is coming from where I have the arrow, like top left, so keep projecting shadows on the volumes according to that. Like if the light comes from top left, then the more shadowed places would be bottom right, and hence we will continue to apply the shadows and the highlights, picking the colors from the reference that we did earlier. Here we go. Okay, a lot more shadows. Okay. The highlights. Okay, that works. Nice. Okay, looking good. Looking great. Yeah, nice. Okay, now we are going to need a little bit more contrast. Okay, just as is not really popping out. Everything is a bit flat. So we're going to add another color. And again, you could use black. I'm going to avoid black, keeping black just for the traces, but you could use it if you want, if that's your thing. I'm going to keep using a really dark green because it's his basic tone, the green from the Flash. And I think that a grayish green will jive well with basically every color in this scheme that we have here. You can apply dark green to everything and everything is gonna pop out. Okay, so if you're using Photoshop or Krita or GIMP, just use this as a multiply layer. Okay, you can use everything that's shaded usually is a multiply layer. Everything that's highlights is a screen layer. Okay, that gives you more contrast, or you can do a bit of both on the same layer. I do not advise this, but you can do it using an overlay layer. Okay, you can just set it to overlay, and whatever is lighter will become even lighter, and whatever is darker will become even darker. Okay, so it's kind of a mixture between the screen and the multiply. So let's apply these shadows more, give more contrasts. And again, let's use these sparingly just to make things pop out. For instance, like we need to have the eyes pop out of the face, so we'll use this darker shade around the eyes. We need the head to pop out of the body. We need the arms to pop out of the body also. And we need the shirt to pop out from the pants. And the legs, we need to keep them separated. Okay, so we will use this darker shade to further separate the shades. Okay, now let's do the same thing that we did to the whole character. Now use a little more detail inside the mouth. Okay, so we're going to need to use the gums and the inside of the mouth, and do again shadows and highlights using the same process as before. And okay, I think this is looking pretty cool. Okay, so now we have this warm light coming from up to the left, but I think we could use a rim light. Okay, a rim light is a light that is off to the side or way in the back. And the function of the rim light is giving a bit of an outline to the character that enables it to pop out of the background. Okay, so as of now, we have these lines doing the work for us of keeping the character out of the background. But if we have something along the lines of color helping us with this and reinforcing the volume, that's pretty cool. So if we're using a zombie, I would say this will be at night, so we can have this bluish light. Usually at night in cartoons, bluish light functions really well. So yeah, let's do that. Let's add a blue light on the right side. Okay, there you go. And now let's start painting with this shaded blue very slightly over everything that would be lit from the right side. Okay, everything that would catch this light. Okay, let's go with ears, head. Okay, yeah, the jaw needs it, the tongue, the arms, the back, the legs, and the feet, and the whole thing. And look at that. We have a zombie. It's done. Okay, now if you're happy with the design, just keep it that way. If you think you should improve something like, I don't know, folds on the legs, on the pants, or maybe you drew some folds on the arms too. I didn't like, but you could on the right arm if you're doing like this drawing. The right arm could use a few shades, for instance, on the elbow to reinforce that bend there. Or you could just reinforce the shadows on the inside of the ear, for instance, on the forehead if you had more wrinkles. I don't know, whatever whatever you feel like your version of the zombie needs to give him more of well, to make him pop out more. Basically, that's it. So I think it's done. Well, congratulations, you have a zombie. Look at that. We have a zombie, and it's fully painted and designed, and it looks like a zombie. It feels like a zombie, and at the same time, it's cute and it pops out. The color scheme is beautiful, and so that's it. Welcome to the first stage. Your zombie is done. Now we need to chop it up, as anyone does with the zombie before we start animating it. So, see you in the next lesson for cutting him up and starting animation. Cheers!